Hey Woodside students, this is Pastor Evan here, and I'm so glad to be with you again for another one of our Monday night lives. Man, we're so excited to begin a new series this week called Trendsetters. We're so excited about seeing what God has in store for us over the next couple of things, but wanted to kind of give you a little insight into what's going to be going on with these videos continuing on, as well as some different things coming your way. First up is our video devotionals through the book of James. We are going to still be doing those in our YouTube station, and also our Wake Instagram at Wake Warren. Go follow along with us through the book of James as we begin walking and seeing how we can walk in our faith. And so make sure to tune those in. Also, continue to hang out with us at our Zoom Hangout calls, both on Wednesday nights for Oasis and Sunday nights for Wake. Those are just some great times to be able to connect and see each other and have some fun. But we're going to be doing some fun things on these videos each week. And first up, we're going to have a segment called Trendy or Nah. Hey guys, welcome to this segment of Trendy or Nah. This little fun experiment is going to look at different decades of trends and ask the question, was it trendy or was it nah? And see if we are going to see it make a comeback. And today our special guest commentator is Haley Shoup. She is our trendy expert, and we're going to just see some trends from the 70s and see if they were trendy or nah, and if they will actually come back. So welcome, Haley. Are you excited to be on? Are you excited to be on the show?
Yes, very excited.
All right. In your opinion, what is something that is trendy right now?
Right now, tie-dye is actually pretty trendy right now.
Oh, that's very fitting because that actually was a trend from the 70s. Mm-hmm. So it will be interesting to see what is the trends that we will talk about today. So let's go ahead and kick off with our first trend from the 70s. Platform shoes. Platform shoes. All right, so first up I see is the shoe that looks like some goldfish in it. What do you think? Do you think that was trendy, or do you think it's nah?
Nah.
Nah? Why do you think?
They're just big and clunky, and they don't seem like they would match much. And yeah. No.
You're going with a nah? All right, We're going with a nah. It'd be very interesting to see PETA react to our platform shoes now to have like live animals in them. It's very interesting.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so that is a nah. Next one, corduroy pants. Corduroy pants. What's your thought on corduroy pants?
I think some people could pull it off. Not everybody, but
okay.
I don't know. I couldn't.
Yeah, they I think I had some corduroy pants when I was younger. I think they were kind of in the 80s, a little bit in the 90s, but it's funny because they would make noise when you would walk. So you would so you wouldn't be very secretive, And I'm looking at this picture with the guy with the belt, It's very interesting. You got the corduroys, but you also got the bell bottoms, which was a huge hit. Yeah. So, would you say trendy or nah?
I'd say trendy.
All right. Do you think that this will make a comeback?
I hope not.
So it was trendy back and then, but possibly not coming back. Yeah. All right. Next one, hats and round sunglasses.
I have a pair like that one guy is wearing in my room right now.
Oh yeah? You should
already made a comeback.
Oh, they've made a comeback. All right. This hat seems very interesting for sure.
I agree.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the hat that's on the female come back.
Oh, definitely.
So
go to the beach and everyone's wearing those.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like with the guy, he's got a lot of things going on. He's got the circle,
I agree.
the circle glasses, the baby blue hat, and a little bit of an interesting choice. So,
Yeah, I agree.
Haley, our trendy expert, do you think this is trendy or not?
I think the woman's hat is trendy, but that guy's hat is just not the move. So I'm hoping that doesn't make a comeback either.
Yeah. I don't know if I would see myself wearing that hat unless it was to be ironic. For sure. All right, last one. Pet rocks.
Oh my goodness.
So pet rocks was a huge thing back in the 70s. Basically, you can have this rock and it's a pet, and some people obviously colored it, put googly eyes. But do you think pet rocks? What are your thoughts?
It's just a rock that's like overpriced because it's coming in a cardboard box.
Right. Yeah, it was very interesting. I don't know why they would be considered pet rocks. Do you like walk them?
Yeah, the concept is kind of interesting, but altogether it does not make sense.
No. So, do you think pet rocks is trendy or not?
Nah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if this actually makes a comeback. It'd be interesting to see. You know, I know that there is a big trend of painting rocks and leaving places, but I don't know if you would necessarily want a pet as a rock.
I agree. I wouldn't.
I don't know if you would want to put a rock in your bed that sleep at night like a dog would, or or if you would actually be looked at funny for walking a pet rock.
Yeah. In today's culture, I think you would.
No, not for sure. Yeah. Well, that was our segment called Trendy or Nah. Thank you to Haley Shoup, our trendy expert. We look forward to next week's edition of Trendy or Not, where we'll be looking at 80s trends. So be sure to check that out. Haley, any last words?
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Haley. We will see you guys later. Thank you, Evan and Haley. That was just so fun to look at those previous trends and see and really answer the question, are they going to come back? Now, I hope that some of those trends do not come back, honestly. I don't know if I want to have the shoes with the goldfish. I think that's kind of cruel, to be honest, but, we'll see what happens in the coming years. But now we're going to go into our message for today. So let us go and check that out. All right, guys, as we jump into this week's message, we are talking about trendsetters. And before we start, I think it's important for us to understand what I mean by trendsetter. What is the definition of trendsetter? So the definition of trendsetter is a person who lead the way in fashion or ideas. These ideas of trends. What is popular? What is the go-to thing? And we can see trends throughout all of time. We've seen fashion trends, just like we did the Trendy or Nah segment. You saw the trends of the 70s. And we also have trends now. And I think now we see these trends come to the forefront. We see a lot of things like on TikTok, there's those trends of those dances or those things like that. You see the things that are trending. They could be fashion trends, like is it going to be platform shoes coming back, or trends of our clothes, or what's in, what type of style, what type of brands are in. And when we think of trendsetters, oftentimes we see trends come and go. But as we look at trendsetters, we're not going to be talking about fashion. We're not going to be talking about things that are popular. We're talking about what does it mean to be a trendsetter? What does it mean to be a trendsetter in our faith? How do we, as a Christian, be a trendsetter? And here's the thing. Some of you may feel like, oh, I don't want to be a trendsetter. I don't want people to follow me. But here's the thing is you have the ability to change people's lives. You have the ability to set a trend to follow God. And whether you're going to be the one that is leading that or following that trend, it's important for us to know, what does it look like to be a trendsetter? So today's passage we're going to look into is Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. And this is what it says. In Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16, it says this. It says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. And you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." So we see in these passages, there's these two analogies of what we as believers, Jesus is giving his disciples, this is what we as believers, as followers of Christ, need to be. First, he says it's salt. It's salt. And what does salt do? Salt flavors things, flavors food, but also it preserves. Especially in that time where there were no refrigerators or freezers, they needed to preserve their food. They needed to make sure that it didn't go bad, so they used salt. So salt is useful for a lot of things. And I remember, when I'm cooking steaks on the grill, it's very important to season those steaks, because if you don't season them with salt and pepper and other things, that they're very bland. They don't taste as good as when you put salt in them, because it flavors. It makes things better. So Jesus uses this idea of salt, but the fact that he also says that if salt has lost its taste, it's not good for anything, right? It's worthless. It's dust on the ground. It's not useful. But then he also uses the idea of light, right? The light shines and illuminates the darkness. That's what light does. It helps us to see. It helps us to see our path when it's dark. But it allows us to also illuminate things. It allows us to find things better. But as he said, just with the salt, is if the light isn't doing what it's called to do, and people are putting it under a basket where light is not able to be seen, then it's not worth anything. It's not doing what it's calling to do. You see, what it does look like to be a trendsetter as a Christian, it means to be salt and light. It means to give value to things. Just like salt is used to flavor things, as Christians, God uses us to bring about great things in the world. But then also this idea of light, it means that we are to show the world God's light. Today we're in these times where a lot of people are sad, a lot of people are worried, a lot of people are without hope. But as Christians, we're meant to give us the true hope of Christ. God has given us this hope. God has given this peace that surpasses all understanding, and the world needs that. So we need to shine the light of Christ. So what does it mean to be a trendsetter? What does it mean to show others who Jesus is? First, trends start with passionate people. Trends start with passionate people. So we need to be passionate about Christ. We need to be passionate in our own relationships with him in order to shine light unto a dark world. We need to know who Christ is and be so in love with him that we want others to see who he is. We need to be the light, and we need to be the salt of the world. And part of that is being passionate in our own relationships. Because just like it says in Matthew, that if we've lost our saltiness, if we lost our taste, or if we've covered up the light of Christ in our own lives, then people aren't going to be able to see it. Just like when mosquitoes and moths they're attracted to light, we need to be that same way. That people, when they see the hope of Christ in a dark time that we're in, they're going to be gravitated towards us. They're going to want to know what's going on. Why does this person have hope? Why does this person have joy in the midst of this? And so that's a way for us to be a trendsetter. We need to be passionate people for Christ. But then also, trendsetters are also influencers. They're influencers. They influence other people. The truth is, you're either leading or you're following. So if you're being a follower, who are you following? Are you following people that are encouraging you to grow in your faith? Are you following, or are you following friends who are leading you away from Christ? Are you making decisions based on what you think is going to make you more popular, or make you have more friends that are not honoring to God? Who are you following? Who are you choosing to follow? Are you choosing to follow the world and covering up that hope that you have? But if for those of you who are leaders, and a lot of you guys are leaders, and I can see that, and your small group leaders can see that. Are you leading people towards Christ? Or are you leading them away from Christ? Is your life a light? Is your life salt and giving flavor towards the world? Are you preserving life? And so the question is are you influencing people for the right reasons? Are you influencing others through Christ? What is your social media feed promoting? Are you promoting hope? Are you promoting Jesus? Or are you promoting the world, the things that the world promotes? And who are you following? Are you following the right people? But here's the thing, when we think about trendsetters in our faith, it's important for you guys to know that you guys are leaders. People are following you, whether it's your younger siblings, whether it's your friends. People are watching you. People are watching what you do, and they're following what you do. So it's important for us to make sure that we're leading in a great way, leading in a way that glorifies God. And I love what it says at the end of those verses. It says, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." So may our lives reflect who Jesus is, and that brings glory to God, and that can bring others to know Christ. And what a great way to do that right now. You know, we're not able to see around each other. Maybe we can be light through writing letters to friends. Maybe it's through sharing Bible verses in our social media. Maybe it's sharing devotionals. A lot of you have done that, and it's incredible to see how God is using you in this amazing way. You are being trendsetters, and I want you guys to encourage those things. But as we close, I want you guys to think about these couple of questions. Are you living a life of a trendsetter? Are you leading people to follow Christ through what you do and what you say? Or are you leading them away? Are you leading them away from God? And if your life, in your life, are you leading people to Jesus or away from him? So think about those questions, and we'll be looking over the next few weeks. We'll be looking at people's lives of who were actual trendsetters in the faith. And we're going to see what it meant for them to follow their path. What does it look like for them to live out their faith during those times, and how we can learn from that? And so we're going to see that, and we're going to see that today. So I hope that you guys will get to see what it looks like to be a trendsetter, and that I encourage you guys to be the salt and light. And over the next couple of weeks, we're not only going to look at these people, but we also want to show you some different people in our lives, whether in our small group leaders' lives or your lives, that have influenced you. And so we're going to have a segment where we're going to see local trendsetters, or a trendsetter story. And so for our first story, we're gonna go to Erin Kersey, who is one of our deep end leaders, and she's gonna share somebody in her life that had influenced her.
So I have a lot of inspiration, so it was difficult to narrow it down to just one, and I thought about talking about multiple, but I did narrow it down to just one. I'm going to share with you about a huge inspiration in my life, which is my grandmother, my mom's mom. I have a picture here to share with you guys. It's my grandma. That's Busha, or Francie, as her daughters called her. She was a huge inspiration to me. She had 7 children, and they were all very different, are all very different people. They have very little in common beyond blood and name. And she had an incredible knack for just making every single one of them feel valued and accomplished, and for just really, really valuing them, and letting them know that she was proud of them, and specifically why she was proud of them. And I watched my mom and her brothers and sisters really blossom under that encouragement, and so that was a huge huge influence on me.
Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing that story, sharing how your grandmother influenced your life, of what it looks like to make people feel known and make people loved no matter who they are. That's such a great way for us to influence. Well, guys, that's all for us tonight. I hope you guys were able to hear God's word and see how you can be trendsetters in this time. We love you. Make sure to connect with us on all of our social media. Check out our Spotify playlist that has some encouraging words for you, encouraging songs that I've listened to even this week, and songs have been stuck in my heart and in my mind over the past week that's just encouraged me. Let us know how we can be praying for you. And if you have stories of people that have influenced your relationship with Christ, people that have strengthened your faith, or shaped who you are today, we'd love to hear those stories. And maybe you'd be able to be on our Trendsetter stories. So be sure to message us, direct message us on Facebook or on Instagram, or check in with your small group leaders, and they can come to me. But we'd love to hear those stories. But that is all for tonight. We hope to see you guys soon. And so have a great rest of your night. See you.